Hello and welcome to another session of GP का जुगाड़, जहाँ पे we are looking at DILR data sets from old CAT papers and we are looking at how to solve these sets faster using Jugaad method that I have always been discussing about. Okay? And so let's get started immediately. But before we get started, just a quick reminder: if you are looking at the session, if you are looking at a program which will help you complete your program or complete your CAT 25 preparation, it will help you revise everything or start from scratch and take you to the final stage before CAT in the next 2 to 3 months. Sprint is there and it's a fairly affordable price. So if it fits in with your requirements, do connect with Career Launcher and look at enrolling for this program. Great. So let's look at the session. क्या बात कर रहे हैं? We are looking at section 2, the DILR section of CAT, which typically has 22 questions and the section has to be done in 40 minutes. This was the pattern for 2024 and we expect the pattern to be same for 2025 also. Okay? I'm sure all of you know that from 2020 CAT has become a 2-hour paper, which means 40 minutes per section. Till CAT 90 it was a 3-hour paper with 1 hour per section. Okay? For the last 4-5 years, since CAT 2020, so last 5 years, in fact, it is in 40 minutes per section. And DILR, the number of questions has varied from 20 to 24 actually. Okay? Yeah, in 2020 it was 24 questions, but last year it was 22 questions. So and then it was 20 questions in the middle also. So the number of questions has varied, the time has remained the same, and hence we need to be clear about how to handle this particular section. Okay, so let's go forward. Okay, and let me give you one piece of data which I start with every time because मेरे को लगता है बहुत जरूरी है कि all students remember this thing. So what I want you to remember is that 50% marks is somewhere around 97.5 to 99.5%. Please remember, as far as DILR is concerned, 50% marks is a good score, and if you end up with 60% marks, you will be above 99.5 percentile. It will be definitely greater than 99, but most of the time more than 99.5 percentile. Okay? This is the reality of CAT. And if you look at the last 5 years papers, तुम्हें दिख जाएगा. After all, in CAT 2020, there were 24 questions with worth 72 marks, and 50% marks will be 36 marks. 36 marks, what else? Yeah. Okay. And 60% marks is going to be, would have been about 42 marks, and that would have been here. So 60% and 50% marks, 60% above 99.5 and 50% around 99 percentile. Okay. Similarly, if you look at the next 3 years, CAT 23, 22 and 21, 60 marks papers, each of these papers were 20 questions or 60 marks, and 50% will be 30 marks. So where would you be with 30 marks in CAT 21? At 97.5 in CAT 21, at 99.1 in CAT 22, at 99.4 in CAT 23. Okay, so same 50% marks, your variation was something like a 97.5, 98 to 99.5 roughly. Okay, in the last 3 years. And then when you look at CAT 24, where would you be with 50% marks? That's 33 marks. You would be again 97.5 percentile. Okay. Similarly, if you look at 60% marks, 60% marks would be 36. Okay, and just 99.5 percentile in CAT 21, but in the other years it will be way above 99.5 percentile. And last year also 60% marks would be another 3.3, another 6.6, so 33 plus 6, so around 40. Yeah, around 40. You would be above 99.5. It would be around 99.5 percentile. Okay. So please remember, as far as DILR is concerned, typically a 50% is a good score. So when you're choosing your sets, you need to choose the sets correctly. And if you can apply the Jugaad method that I've talked about in all my sessions, you will end up doing one extra set over others. So if you use the method, if you work the way that I recommend, invariably you will end up getting a 99 plus or a 99.5 plus as far as this paper is concerned. Okay. Chalo. And what is the approach we have? What is the Jugaad approach? It is a problem-solving approach. It's not a shortcut. It's not a technique. It's not something which changes from set to set. So many times people say, "No, इस तरह के set को इस तरह करना है." This is the type of set. No, there's an overarching thing. There's an overall approach which you need to look at. And this approach, first of all, says that you should use all information. You should use all available information. And yes, I know कि बहुत लोग ये तो हम करते हैं नहीं करते हो. The fact is, most of you don't look at questions and the choices. Most of you do not pick up information from there. And even when you are comprehending the data, looking at the basic stuff, most of you are more focused on acha kya karna hoga rather than let me understand the data. So most people don't use the full information and hence they struggle. Most people don't use the question and the choices at all. And a significant population also does not read the data set carefully. And that is where the problem starts. Secondly, the focus of Jugaad is on solving the questions. What does it mean? I will look at the question, ask myself, what do I need to do to answer these questions? What information do I need? What tabulation do I need to do to answer the question? And I'll tabulate data based on that. Only utna hi table बनाऊंगा जितनी आवश्यकता है. What most students do is they focus on filling up. क्या data पढ़ लिया, चलो table पूरा बनाते हैं, and then we will look at the question. No, if you are making the table without looking at the question, you are wasting time, and it is this time wasted which makes sure कि तुम्हारा एक set कम attempt होता है. So what are two critical things? One, use all available information. Second, focus on answering the question and not filling up the table. This is what you need to be clear about. Okay. Now, what is the basic process that we follow? I've said this in each of my earlier sessions. I'll repeat that. It is DILR, decipher, identify, layout, and resolve. Decipher means comprehend, understand. So, पहली चीज है, whatever information is given, please decipher, please understand, please comprehend. So this is nothing but comprehension. Whatever data is given, have you been able to understand or not? If you don't understand the data, then there's no point going forward. Because if you have not understood the data, what table will you do? What will you do with the questions? Kuch nahi ho sakta. Please leave it and move on. So first thing is, please focus on understanding or comprehension, and which also means you should not, I am repeating, this also means you should not rush through the data set. Try to understand it fully, and once you understand fully, only then you go forward and look at the other stuff. Okay. Second thing is identify. Okay, so what do I mean by identify? Identify means please go through the questions which are given to you. Within those questions, pick out the questions which are easy. Identify which are the easy or the difficult or the medium questions. Identify what is the information given in the question. Which questions give me information which will be useful for me in solving the data sets. Okay? And this part I am again repeating. This is where most students make a mistake of not or miss out. वो इसको देखते ही नहीं है. वो थोड़ा बहुत समझ. What is the normal mode? Try to understand it somewhat. Make the table and then go to the question. That's what most people do. Okay. I'm saying, boss, change your approach. You decipher. Now go and identify the information from the question. Identify the easy, medium, difficult question. Identify which question to be attempted first and which one to be attempted later. Based on the questions, create your table. While you have a broad layout, पहले ही अच्छा इस तरह के data set को इस तरह का table चाहिए, perfectly fine. But उस table में क्या भरना है, how to fill that table, or which are the cells or the areas that you need to focus on, that is a function of the question. So you fill the table as per the requirement of the questions. This is your identification part, and then comes the layout or the making the table, or you tabulate the data. So tabulation of the table is the third part. And remember, as I said, tabulation or making the table is a function of the information I picked up from the question. And based on the tabulation and information from the question, I look at solving the question and marking the answer. So this is what DILR is. Now let's look at a set. Okay? But before we look at the set of data for today, and which is from CAT 23 slot 1, before we look at this data set, I hope you have downloaded the set, solved it yourself, and then now you are attending the session. But if you have not downloaded the set, then please pause kar do. Don't go further. Don't go further. Please scan this particular QR code. You will go to OpenCAT, where you'll have the tab of GP ka Jugaad. In the GP ka Jugaad, you'll have all the sets available which I have solved so far, and today's session also. What will you do? It has got two parts. One is called the PDF, and the second is the video. Please download the PDF of today's session. This is a PDF of the first session, and so on and so forth. Today's session PDF has already been uploaded. Usko download karo. Solve it yourself. Uske baad you come and watch the video. Till then, you should not watch the video, and that is what you need to do for the earlier data sets also. Before you go to the video of any data set, you need to solve the data set yourself, and only then you will understand the advantages of using the processes which I am suggesting. Okay, chalo, let's go further. Let's look at this particular data set from CAT 2023 slot 1, and this was supposed to be a difficult set. which it is. I will not. There is no doubt in my mind that's a difficult set to understand itself. It's a difficult set. Also, it's a lengthy set. कितनी लंबी कहानी है यार. There's so much of information, and then you have some more information. So it is full page of information. So obviously that itself makes it a little difficult. And then it is about scheduling, which makes it difficult for students. However, there's something which is very interesting about this set. There are a couple of questions which are easy. And this was one of those sets where the solution में कोई लंबा चौड़ा जुगाड़ नहीं है. But जुगाड़ is in choosing the right question. In what sequence you attempt the question is very, very important. And I will again repeat, your job is to do the easy questions first and then go to the difficult ones. So यहाँ पे क्या जुगाड़ था? The sequence in which you attempt the data set is something which is going to determine how well will you do this data set. Okay, chalo. Let's go step by step. Let's try to understand the data first and then we'll look at how to solve. A visa processing office BPO accepts visa application in 4 categories: US, UK, Schengen, and others. Okay. The applications are scheduled for processing in 20 15-minute slots starting from 9 a.m. ending at 2 p.m. Okay. 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. there are 20 slots. Let's look at this way. 9, 9:50, 9:30, 9:45. There will be 4 slots between 9 and 10. So 4 slots per hour. If it's a 15-minute slot, and how many hours? 9 to 2, 5 hours. Okay. So 5 hours, 4 slots per hour, there are total of 20 slots. Perfect. And 15 minutes. So there are total of 20 slots of 15 minutes. Okay. 10 applications are scheduled in each slot, which implies 20 slots, 10 applications per slot, total 200 applicants. So this is something I'm sure we can understand as we go along. Okay. There are 10 counters in the office, 10 visa processing counters in the office, 4 dedicated to US applications, and 2 each for UK, Schengen, and others. Okay. So out of these 10 counters, there are 10 counters, and out of the 10 counters, US has 4, UK has 2, Schengen has 2, and others have 2. So these are my 10 counters. Okay. Applicants are called. Okay. Applicants are called in for processing sequentially on a first come first serve basis, where whenever a counter gets freed for their category. Okay. So people will call for the interview based on the category. So US applicants, all of them will go to one of these 4. UK applicants will go to one of these 4. Schengen applicants, these 2, UK is 2. Schengen applicants will go to one of these 2 and the others will go to one of these 2. Okay. The processing time for application is same within each category, but it may vary across categories. Each US and UK applications require 10 minutes of processing time. So each US application will take 10 minutes to process. So if a person comes at 9 and his or her work starts at 9, 9:10 they will be free. He or she will be free. Okay, and then 9:10, and then the other person can be picked up. Okay? Same thing for UK. So each US and UK application requires 10 minutes. What about others? And what about Schengen? We don't have the information, at least not so far. Let's go further. Depending on the number of application or category and the time required to process an application for that category, it is possible that an applicant for slot may be processed later. Okay. So if the counter is busy and your time has come, you will still need to hold on. Okay. On a particular day, Ida, Vijay, and Nandini was scheduled for Schengen visa processing in that order. That means Ida was scheduled before Vijay and Vijay before Nandini in that sequence. They had a 9:15 a.m. slot but entered the VPO at 9:20 a.m. Okay. Now, what does this line mean? It means that these 3 people, Ida, Vijay, and Nandini, who had a Schengen visa processing appointment, they should have come at 9:15 a.m., but they were delayed and they came at 9:20. When they entered the office, exactly 6 of the 10 counters were either processing applications or had finished processing one and were ready to start processing next. So I will read it as saying this effectively means 6 out of 10 counters were occupied. 6 out of 10 counters were busy. Either they had an application sitting in front of them, or applicant sitting in front of them, or the applicant had just left and the next person was they were about to start the next one. So 6 out of 10 were busy. 4 out of 10 were jobless, khali baithe, kuch nahi karne ko. That's what I have understood from here. Next, Mahira and Osman was scheduled for 9:30 a.m. on that visa, on that day for visa processing in the others category. Mahira and Osman at 9:30 a.m. in others category. Okay. So what is the information we have got? The information we have got is 20 slots of 15 minutes starting at 9 going up to 10. Each slot has 10 applications. So total 200 applications on the day. Okay. Out of the 10 counters, 4 counters are dedicated for US and 2 counters each for UK, Schengen and others. So 10 counters are there. Okay. Okay. Then people will call on a first come first serve basis. The person who comes in first will be called in first. Okay. UK and US application, each application requires 10 minutes of processing time. So if a US and UK applicant or a UK applicant comes in front of the comes to the counter at 9 o'clock, he or she will be free at 9:10. Okay. Okay. It is, and depending upon the number of applications, the category and the time required to process, it is possible that there might be delay also. All it's saying. Okay. Now, second thing, it says Ida, Vijay, and Nandini come for visa processing, Schengen visa processing. Their appointment was for 9:15, but they entered late at 9:20. Okay. And when they entered, 6 out of the 10 counters were occupied. They were busy. Okay. Similarly, Mahira and Osman were scheduled for 9:30 a.m. It does not tell us कि वो late है कि जल्दी है, Mahira Osman, but so I will assume कि time पे. So this is the information we have, and then we have some information here also. Okay. Now, first question, let's see what is, how many UK applicants were scheduled. So that's the first thing I need to do, and this is a theta. Theta means it's solvable. It means there's nothing to be worried about. हाँ, data शायद कुछ घुमाना होगा, but such questions typically, such data sets typically have this kind of a question. Question 2, what is the maximum possible time, maximum possible value of the total time in minutes required to process all applications in the others category on that day? What does it mean? It is telling you कि भैया जहां तक others का सवाल है, you will not know the exact time per applicant for processing the visa. US UK is 10 minutes per visa. For others, it says you will not know the exact time. You'll get a range. That the time is between X and Y minutes. So what is the maximum time? The number of applicants into Y minutes. Okay, so that is what it will give us. So it is telling us that you will not be able to find the exact value of time taken to process the application of others. Which of the following is closest to the time when Nandini's application process gets over? Who's Nandini? Nandini is one of the 3 people who came in late for the Schengen visa. Yeah, Nandini came in late for the Schengen visa. In that order, they were scheduled for 9:15. So there were 3 people who were scheduled at 9 a.m. and another 3 at 9:15. That means Nandini is a 6th person. 3 people at 9, 3 people at 9:15 are either Vijay and Nandini. So Nandini, as per the schedule, was 6th person in the queue. Okay, but they came at late at 9:20. So what time it? So what is it telling you? Yeah, Schengen का पता चल जाएगा. Nandini is for Schengen visa, and look at the answer, definite values. That means Nandini, if I can find the time at which Nandini's visa process will get over, I should be able to find the time per application for Schengen visa. This question is telling me, yeah, ये हो जाएगा. Okay. Which of these statements is false? I'll come to this later. And last one, when did the application processing of all US applicants get over on that day? Okay. Now, when you look at this data set, पहली चीज तो मेहनत तो है. Look at this thing, telling you do the complete work for, this is others, do the complete work for US. Okay, how many US UK applications I'll need to find. Okay, and this possibly requires everything. Okay, so this is going to be a data set जिसमें थोड़ा काम ज़्यादा करना पड़ेगा. Okay, and here it is important to pick the right question to attend in the right sequence. Now, what is the data I have? I know how many people attended, and secondly, I definitely can solve this question. Okay, provided we have some data out here. Okay, so as for if I get the data of number of applications in US for US, I should be able to solve question number 5. So now let's go to the questions and go to the data again, fill up the important information from here, and then we'll decide how to go about doing it. Okay. Now, just for our understanding, I'll write down. There were 10 counters, C1 to C10. 10 counters. US is 4, UK is 2, Schengen is 2, and others is 2. Okay, 10 counters, US, UK, Schengen, and others. Now, when I have 10 counters out here, each slot is 15 minutes. So these are 20 slots of 15 minutes. This is what we have. And each slot has 10 applicants. 10 applicants per slot. What does that mean? 200 applicants in all. Right? This is the other information. Now, what was the other information that we had? On a particular day, Isa, Vijay, and Nandini. I'll just highlight. Isa, Vijay, and Nandini scheduled for Schengen visa. Instead of 9:15, their appointed time, they came at 9:20 a.m. And when they entered the office, 6 out of 10 were either, let's say 6 out of 10 counters were busy, were occupied, or just occupied, okay. Well, let me say busy. Or the other way is 4 were jobless, did not have any work. Okay. Then it says Mahida and Usman were scheduled at the 9:30 a.m. slot on that day for visa processing in the others category. Okay. Now the second info, look at the balance information. All slots are full. Great. Okay. So no vacant slots. The number of US applicants was same in all slots. The same was true for other categories as well. Now, what was the question we have? Let's look at the questions. Okay. The first question is how many UK applicants? Okay. Second question is maximum possible time for others. Total possible, okay, of the total time in minutes. Third is which of the following is closest to the time when Nandini's application process gets over. Statement is false. I'll come to this later. When did the application processing for all US applicants get over? Okay. Okay. Now, so far with the given information we have, I cannot say which one to go for first. Okay. We know all slots are full. The number of US applications same and the same is true for all 3 categories. Okay. Then it says 50% of the applicants for US applications. All applicants except Isa, Vijay, and Nandini arrived on time. And Vijay was called to the counter at 9:25 a.m. Okay. Now, what should be the sequence in which you should attempt the paper? Okay. पहली चीज, question number 1 तो पक्का करना होगा. Why? Question number 1 is something which is asking the number of applications, and such data sets typically have, and this is usually the easiest question to attempt. So if I'm going to go for this data set, I will definitely do question number 1 first. So my starting point will be question 1. Then I will go to question 5. Why question 5? Because when did the application processing of all US applicants get over on that day? That is what I'll do. Because I know the number of US applicants. How? It says 50% of the applications were US applicants. Okay. And the number of US applicants was same in all slots. So out of the 200 applicants, we know there are 20 slots of 15 minutes each. Each slot has 10 applications. So 200 applicants. Out of these, how many will be US? US will be 50%. It says 50% are US. So 100. Okay. Or the other way to look at, in every slot, out of the 10 applications, US will have 50% or 5. Out of the 10 applications, US will have 5. Okay. Then what does it say? Okay. Then it says number of US applications was same in all slots. Okay. The same is true for all other 3 categories also. Okay. Now please tell me, Isa, Vijay, and Nanya for Schengen visa. So can I say, as far as Schengen visa is concerned, the number of applicants will be greater than or equal to 3 in each slot. Okay. So we have UK, we have Schengen, and we have others. And the total has to be 10. Schengen is greater than or equal to 3. Why? Because in one particular slot, Isa, Vijay, and Nandini with 9:15 slot, they have come for Schengen visa. So that means the number of applicants for Schengen visa is at least 3. Okay. But then look at Mahila and Usman, these are for others category. So I can also say by the same logic, ye bhi to greater than equal to 2 hoga. So what is the minimum number of applicants for Schengen visa in each slot? 3. Minimum number for others 2, and 5 for US. So 5 plus 3 plus 2, 10 ho gaya na? that means UK has to be 0. Question 1, 0. This is a question, how many applications are there, how many applicants for particular category. This kind of question usually comes in these kind of data sets. So ये तो पहला करना ही था, ठीक है? But I hope it is clear. Out of the 200, I'll just repeat this part. Out of out of the 10 applicants per slot, I'll just remove this, and to save time, out of the applications per slot, okay, out of the total 10 applications per slot, 5 are for applications per slot. US is 5 out because it says 50%. Same is true for each other category, all other 3 categories. Either which and none are for Schengen visa, that means in each slot there will be at least 3 people for Schengen visa. So this is going to be greater than, Schengen is going to be greater than equal to 3. Similarly, others, Mahira and Osmana for others, so others has to also be greater than equal to 2 in each slot. Okay. And if I look at minimum of these 2, that is 5, these 2 are at least 5, and this is 5, that means this has to be, UK has to be 0, Schengen has to be 3 applications per slot, and others has to be 2 applications per slot. Okay. So now the next question I'll attempt is question number 5. Okay. When did the application processing for US application get over? Because I know US application will take 10 minutes to solve, 10 minutes per applicant. Each of US and UK application requires 10 minutes of processing time. Question number 2 talks about the processing time for others. Question number 3 talks about the processing time for Schengen visa, because Nandini has come for Schengen visa. इसके बारे में तो मालूम नहीं मुझे. I'll have to find out. Question number 4, what does it say? Okay, process of Mahira before Nandini. तो उनका time चाहिए ना? Osman before Vijay, Mahira after Nandini. For this, I need to solve. I need to find the time per processing time per application for others and Schengen only. Then I can do it. So my order of attack, as far as this set is concerned, I will start with question 1. Then I will go to question 5. Then I will look at others and 2 or 3. Okay, Schengen, and it does not matter much now. Okay, now it does not matter much. I'll do either question 2 or question 3, and then I'll go to question 4, because to solve question number 4, I need information of question 2 and 3 also. So this is the sequence in which you should be attempting this paper, this particular data set. Pehla wala to ho hi gaya hamara. Chalo, let's look at US now. When did the application processing for all US applicants get over on that day? Okay. Now, if I look at US applications, there are 4 counters. This is US. Okay. Let me, let's not write it this way. Let me write it the other way. C1, C2, C3, and C4. This is for USA. Now, as far as US is concerned, how many applications per slot? 5 applications per slot. But there are 4 counters. And how much time per slot per application for UK? US, sorry, 10 minutes. So UK claim US get 10 chahiye. So what will happen? 9 to 9:10. 4 applications taken up. As soon as one of them gets over the 5th applicant, so each slot has 5 applications. That means the 5th applicant of 9:10 will start at 9:10 and go up to 9:20. Right? When will the second lot of people come? They'll come at 9:15 a.m. So at 9 a.m., as far as USA is concerned, at 9 a.m. 3 came, 5 came. 9:15 a.m. another 5 will come. 9:30 a.m. another 5 will come, and so on. So what I'll do, I'll try to find some pattern to be able to get the answer. Because look at the answer. 2 p.m., 2:05 p.m., 2:25, 3:40. So there is obviously going to be a slippage, because 4 counters are 5 applications there. So slippage ka chance. So this is the first slot. Now what happens? These 5 are done. At 9:15, 5 more people will come. If at 9:15, 5 more people will come for the application, what will happen? First 3 out of those 5 will be occupied here. That means they will go from 9:15 to 25. 9:15 to 9:25. 9:15 to 9:25. Right? And then The moment this 920 wala person is finished, so at 9:15, 5 people came, 3 have been occupied, taken care of. At 9:20, the 4th person will start and will go up to 9:30. And one of these, when this is over by 9:25, what will happen? 9:25 to 9:35 will be the 5th person. Okay. Now please look at this pattern. The 9 a.m. people, when did all of them get completed? By 9:20. The 9 a.m. people, their job was done by 9:20. The 9:15 people, they should have their job. Their job gets done at what time? What time will they get finished? At 9:35. एक और करना है, चलो एक और कर लेते हैं. At 9:30, another 5 came. When will they be taken up? The people who came at 9:30, 9:30 to 40, 9:30 to 40. 2 of them taken care of. This is also 9:30 over, so 9:30 to 40. And then this one will be over at 9:35. So C2 will be over at 9:35. So 4th person of 9:30 slot will get over at 9:45. And at 9:40, the counter 3 is over. So 9:40 to 9:50. This will be over at 9:50. What does this mean? The 9:30 people, they should have been over, because next slot will come at 9:30 पे जो आ रहे हैं उनका अगला slot 9:45 पे आएगा ना. So 5 minutes after that. 9 a.m. slot should have been over at 9:50, 9:15, but it is getting over at 9:20. 9:15 slot should have been over at 9:30, getting over at 9:35. So how much? So the set of people who are coming in a given slot of 15 minutes, their job gets done in 20 minutes. What does this mean? When is the last slot going to come? Last slot will come at 1:45 p.m. The last slot people, when they come at 9:45 p.m., how much time will it take them? It take the counters to finish processing the visas? 20 minutes. That means their job will be over at 2:05 p.m. 5 minutes extra lag rahe hain overall mein, so that is why the correct answer should be choice 2. Okay, so let's go further. I'll just erase this because I need some space to work. Okay. And we look at the remaining questions. Okay. The remaining questions are talking about Schengen visa and the others. Okay. हट गया ये, चलो ये भी हटा दें. Okay. So we are done, almost done. Okay. Now we look at question 2, 3 first. Between 2 and 3, whichever happens first, we look at that part. So we have used almost all the information so far, but हमने ये चीज नहीं यूज की so far. When Vijay, Ida, and Nandini entered the offers at 9:20 a.m., when they earned exactly 6 out of the 10 counters were either processing application or finished processing. At 9:20, which are the counters which are not working or which are working? At 9:20 a.m., what is the situation? Can I say US, which is counters 1 to 4? All are busy. We just saw that. At 9:15, when more people come, 9:15 to 9:30, everyone is occupied. So all 4 are busy at 9:20, sorry, right? When they entered the offers at 9:20 a.m., exactly 6 of the 10 counters were either processing application or had finished processing one and ready to start processing. They were in the transition or they were just finished. Okay, they were either working or transition. They are just working on an application or just transitioning from one application to the next one. So they were all busy. Okay. What about UK? UK, those zero application are jobless. They are jobless. So 2 of the counters which were not working at that point of time, who were sitting jobless, no work to do, were the UK counters. So there are 2 counters. What about Schengen and other, and what about others? Okay. Now let's look at Schengen. Okay. If they were jobless at that point of time, what would that mean? If the Schengen visa, Schengen wale jo the, let's say, UK jobless, then Schengen is, let's say, C5 and C6, and others is C7, C8. Now, please tell me, when they entered, if the Schengen people are jobless, would they have not called all of them immediately? 2 of them immediately? Okay. Schengen visa wale to jobless nahi hai. Why? Because they entered at 9:20, okay, and Vijay was called at 9:25. If they were jobless, because 9 o'clock, because at 9 o'clock, as far as Schengen visa is concerned, at 9 a.m., how many would have come? 3. So if they were jobless, Ida and Vijay and Nandini would have, or at least Vijay and Ida and Vijay would have been called immediately. Okay, so that is where I have an issue with this thing. Okay, so I would say Schengen seems to be busy. UK is jobless, and this also most probably. Okay, now let's look at this Schengen wala kahani. Okay, if you look at Schengen, 2 counters. Let's say counter 5 and counter 6. Okay. At 9 a.m., how many applications would have come? 2. So Schengen applicant 1 and Schengen applicant 2 would enter at 9 a.m. Then at 9 a.m., sorry, Schengen has 3 applications per slot. No? Schengen has 3 applications per slot. So as far as Schengen is concerned, 3 people came in. First applicant will go to counter 5, second to counter 6, and then third applicant will come here. Fourth applicant will come to counter 6 again, then fifth applicant, and sixth applicant. Okay, this is the situation. Now, Vijay is called at the counter at 9:25 a.m. Which is Vijay? At 9 a.m., 3 applicants came. 9 a.m., 3 applicants came. At 9:15, there were another 3, and Vijay was second in them. So Vijay is application number 5. So this is Schengen 4, Schengen application 5, Schengen application 6. So Vijay will come here. What does it say? Vijay was called to the counter at 9:25 a.m. So Vijay is called at 9:25 a.m. What does that mean? That means the first 2 candidates would have taken 12.5 minutes each. Right? So the first candidate for Schengen visa went to counter 5, started at 9 a.m. and was there till 9:12.5. Similarly, on counter 6, the second application went at 9 a.m. and was there till 9:12.5. Right? And from 9:12.5 to 9:25, the third applicant is being taken care of at on counter 5. And Vijay, which is the application number 5, will then be called at 9:25 a.m. That's what it's saying. So before Vijay, on counter 5, there were 2 applications. Both of them combined took 25 minutes. So Vijay was called at 9:25, and each application hence is 12.5 minutes. What does that mean with respect to Nandini? Oh, sorry, Ida. Ida, that means came into the place at 9:20, and she would have been called at 9:20 only. She would go till 9:32.5. Okay, because it says they entered at 9:20 and Vijay is called at 9:25. If Vijay is called at 9:25 on this particular counter, which is the Schengen counter 5, is what I've given it the name as. So if 9:25 पे बुलाया है, that means the first and the third application for Schengen visa would have taken 25 minutes or 12.5 minutes. And who's the applicant 6 then? For Schengen, Nandini. Nandini would start at 9:32.5 and go on till 9:45. Okay. So we have solved question number 3 first now. Which of the following closest to the time Nandini's application process got over? Nandini application process gets over at 9:45. So the importance of this statement is, this tells me that Schengen visa takes 12.5 minutes to occupy. Now, I had left this midway because थोड़ा सा confusion था कि दोनों occupied है, both Schengen are occupied is one is. I said most probably this UK wala, this others are jobless and Schengen occupied. We can verify that now. Let's see what is happening at 9:20. At 9:20, this counter is occupied. Why? Because occupied with candidate 3 of Schengen visa. At 9:20, this fourth counter is just picks up the application for this lady called Ida. So this is also occupied. That means both these are jobless. Others wala are jobless, while the Schengen wala are occupied. At 9:20, these 6 are available. These are busy. Let me put it this way: these are busy. Two UK counters are definitely jobless and others are also jobless. Okay. So now let's look at the rest of the stuff. So I'm again erasing this part. Okay. So what have we found? Whatever I found, I'll just write it down in one corner. So as far as Ida, Vijay and Nandini are concerned, because question number 4 talks about timing for Vijay and Nandini. Vijay and Nandini. Okay. So as far as Ida, Vijay and Nandini are concerned, Ida, Vijay, Nandini. Ida will from 9:20. Her process will start at 9:20 and go till 9:32.5 minutes. Vijay's process will start at 9:25 and will go till 9:37.5. And this is Nandini. Nandini's process will start at 9:32.5 and will go till 9:45. Right? Now let's look at the others also. And what are we clear about? Which are the 4 counters which are jobless at 9:20? The 4 counters which are jobless at 9:20 are the others and UK. Okay. So now let me look at others, because question 2 says others. Total time for all applications who are for the others category. Okay. So the 2 counters, let's say C6, 1, 2, 4 we had put for US, 5, 6 for Schengen. Let's say 7, 8 for others. Counter 7 and counter 8. This is the others. Okay. So if you look at these others, counter 7 and counter 8. Okay. So Mahira and Osman came in 9:20. Now both the counters are jobless. The 4 US counters, the 4 counters of US are occupied. The 2 counters of Schengen are occupied. So Z6 occupied. So what does it mean? Exactly 6 out of 10 counters are busy or busy. 2 and 4 are jobless. The 4 jobless people are the ones who are for UK and for others. What does that mean? Even though these 2 people, Mahira and Osman, are late, they will be sorry. Okay, hold on. Mahira Osman are late. So sorry. Okay, my mistake. So at 9:20 a.m., the first lot for others came at 9 a.m. Then came at 9:15 a.m. And at 9:20 a.m., others are jobless. The 2 counters which cater to others are jobless. What does it mean? The 2 people who came at 9:15 a.m., they were taken care of in less than 5 minutes. 2 people came at, let's say, others first candidate, others second candidate. Others third candidate came at, and others fourth candidate came at 9:15 a.m. At 9:20 a.m., the counters for others is jobless. That means both of them would have been taken care of in less than 5 minutes. So what does it tell me? As far as others are concerned, the processing time is less than 5 minutes. Right? Now look at question number 2. What is the maximum possible value of the total time in minutes nearest to the integer value required to process all applications in the others category on that day? Definitely each candidate will take less than 5 minutes. How many candidates for others? 2 in each slot. And how many slots? 10 slots. Okay. So 2 in each slot and 10 slots. So if there are two of them, 2 candidates in each slot, each will take maximum of 5 minutes or less than 5 minutes. So since talking about nearest integer value, I'm looking at 5 and into 20 slots. How much does that become? 200 minutes. So the time taken for processing all applications of others is 200 minutes. Why? It is two applications per slot into 20 slots, and each application will take 5 minutes. So it is going to be total 200 minutes. Okay. So what does that mean with respect to these other people who are left? Okay. What does that mean with respect to the 2 people, which is Mahira and Osman? That means Mahira and Osman, they came at 9:30 a.m. and the data is clear. All applicants except Vijay, Nandini and Ida arrived on time. Okay. That means Mahira and Usman arrived on time. When they arrived at 9:30, both of them, they would be free by 9:35, or they will be free before 9:35. Now let's look at question number 4. Which of the statements is false? We are looking at statement which is false. The application process of Mahira was completed before Nandini's. Mahira's application process at 9:35. Nandini's application process completes at 9:45. Yes, this statement is correct. That Mahira's application process complete before Nandini. So this cannot be the answer. Statement number 2. Application process of Osman completed before Vijay. Osman completed at 9:35 and Vijay completed at 9:37.5. Absolutely right. This statement is also correct and hence cannot be the answer because we are looking at which statement is false. Statement 3. The application process of Mahira started after Nandini's. Application process of Mahira started at 9:30 and Nandini started at 9:32.5. Okay. So that means this statement is false. Statement saying applications process of Mahira started after Nandini. No, Mahira's process started before Nandini. Nandini's process started at 9:32.5. She went up to 9:45. So, and Mahira's process started at 9:30. That means this should be the answer because this is false. Just to be clear, just to be sure, let's look at the last statement also. The application process of Osama was completed before 9:45 a.m. Yes, Osama is completed before 9:45 a.m. So statement 4 is correct and cannot be the answer. Okay. So that finishes the set. Now again, I want to highlight one simple fact. If you look at this data, okay, if you look at this data, the sequence in which you should attempt the question is, this is my priority one. You start with question number 1, go to question number 5, because as far as the US applications are concerned, I have the full data, I can do this. So start with question number 1 and 5, and then what you do, you will do either question number 2 or 3, and then you will go to question number 5. Okay, so this is the sequence which should have been attempted, and this is effectively, if you look at the increasing order of difficulty, there is an increasing order of difficulty, and this set के लिए बहुत जरूरी था. You keep doing the easy question because remember, if you get 4 correct answers, it does not matter whether those 4 correct answers are from one set or multiple sets. 4 correct answers will give you only 12 marks. So please choose to do the easy questions first so that you save time. Now look at this. If this was the last set you were attempting and you try to solve the complete set, बढ़ जाओगे. But if there's the last set you are attempting and you have 5 minutes left with you, you'll still be able to do at least 2, if not more questions. So it is important to pick up the easy questions first and then go through the solution. Okay. So I hope this clears the basic concept about how to go about doing such a set. Okay. And yes, if you have any doubts and you want to connect with me, my phone number is 9811155160 and my email ID is gp@careerlauncher.com. Okay. You can connect with me on either of the 2 ways. And yes, we have this program called DILR 1000 where such techniques are taught, such ways of working are taught, and this program is done by Gautam Baba, Ravi Teja, and me. And the focus is essentially DILR only. Okay. So yes, I hope you have downloaded the CL app. If not, please do so. It will become it will be an integral part of your preparation. Okay, then that's it from my side. All the best. We'll meet again next week.